Alrighty. So, you guys read the first half of John chapter 8. Tonight, I'm going to be reading to you guys the second half of John chapter 8. So I'm going to read 42 through 59. Here's God's word. Listen to God's word. Listen. Jesus said to them, "If God were your Father, would you love me? For I came from God, and now am here. I have not come on my own, but He sent me. Why is my language not clear to you? Because you are unable to hear what I say. You belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desire. He was a murderer from the beginning, not holding to the truth, for there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, for he is a liar and the father of lies. Yet because I tell the truth, you do not believe me. Can any of you prove me guilty of sin? If I am telling the truth, why don't you believe me? He who belongs to God hears what God says. The reason you do not hear is that you do not belong to God." The Jews answered him, "Aren't we right in saying that you are a Samaritan and demon-possessed?" "I am not demon-possessed," said Jesus, "but I honor my Father, and you dishonor me. I am not seeking glory for myself, but there is one who seeks it, and he is the judge. I tell you the truth, if anyone keeps my word, he will never see death." At this, the Jews exclaimed, "Now we know that you are demon-possessed. Abraham died, and so did the prophets, yet you say that if anyone keeps your word, he will never taste death. Are you greater than our father Abraham? He died, and so did the prophets. Who do you think you are?" Jesus replied, "If I glorify myself, my glory means nothing. My Father, whom you claim as your God, is the one who glorifies me. Though you do not know him, I know him. If I said I did not, I would be a liar like you. But I do know him, and I keep his word. Your father Abraham rejoiced at the thought of seeing my day. He saw it and was glad. You are not yet 50 years old," the Jews said to him, "and you have seen Abraham. I tell you the truth," Jesus answered, "before Abraham was born, I am." At this, they picked up stones to stone him, but Jesus hid himself, slipping away from the temple grounds. Will you pray with me? Hey God, I want to thank you so much for the way that you are just working in our lives right now. Lord, it's constantly up in the air, it's constantly changing, constantly in flux, but yet you are our constant. You are always there guiding us in the right direction. Even when our lives seem to be falling apart or going in a direction we don't want to go in, you're still there to guide us. But more importantly, Lord, I ask that you be with these students tonight. Let them hear your voice. Let them hear truth. God, please do not let any of them be like the Jews who chose not to hear you, who chose to ignore you, who chose to stone you. Be with me, Lord, and take me away so it not be my message, but let it be your message. In your name I pray. Amen. So, I listened to you guys last year when we first started this, back at the reading of Luke. Some of these messages apply to you now, some of them apply to you next week, next year, 10 years from now. Some of the messages are going to be boring, some of the messages are going to be exciting, some of the messages are going to be easy, some are going to be really hard. This one in particular is really hard. It was really hard for me to prepare. It's going to be really hard for you guys to receive. Because God is going to be doing a lot of truth saying tonight. He's going to be talking a lot of truth to you, and He's going to be calling you out. Typically I have a whole sheet of notes that I take after I do hours and hours and hours of study and research into Scripture. But when I was doing this, God was like, "No, I don't want that. I don't need you to write notes because I'm going to speak to Him directly." So everything that I say is not coming from me. It's not coming from my mouth, but yet it's coming from your Father, the one who created, who spent time crafting you and building you, and who is continuously crafting you and building you. Yeah. So let's start with the very beginning. Let's start with Jesus addressing the Jews. All right? You see, when you finished this episode group, you were talking about how, or you might have been talking about how the Israelites were saying, "Well, listen, our father is Abraham. And the reason he is our father is because God is his father. So by direct connection, God is our father." Jesus like, well, that makes no sense. Because I'm speaking on behalf of the Father, but yet you claim I'm not speaking on behalf of the Father. In fact, you're claiming that I'm wrong, and that I'm blaspheming, and I'm doing things against the law of Moses. How in the world can you come from Abraham, can you come from God, when I am from God, when I am speaking directly to you. You see, Jesus has been battling back and forth with the Israelite nation for some time. And we've already heard and seen Christ fully declare himself the Messiah. All right? He's done hiding in the shadows. He's done hiding in secret. Now he is out in the open, straight up telling everybody, this is who I am, this is who I'm going to be, and this is where I'm going. That's simple. That's easy. Why can you not understand that? And what do the Jews do? They fight back with it. All right? This scenario that we're reading, and basically this whole section, the entire chapter 8, think of it this way. Think of two guys who are fighting over one girl. All right? It starts off with words, typically a text message. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it progressively gets worse. At first, it's really just kind of a threat, just kind of puffing out the chest and kind of getting the other guy to back down. Well, in order to seem stronger and bigger, he gets more violent with his messages, and he gets more aggressive. Well, then, okay, I can't back down from that. I'm going to get even more aggressive. That's exactly what's happening between Jesus and the Jews. All right, they're fighting over God. One group is saying, you are not God, and I'm going to get bigger. I'm going to get tougher than you. I'm going to get my friends to come here with me, to scare you, to intimidate you, to get you to stop what you're doing. Whereas you're not from God, you're demon-possessed, you're a Samaritan, you're someone who is a nobody. Right? Your mom, in fact, is a whore. Right? She conceived you out of wedlock. So who are you? How can you come and tell me that you're from God? Are you kidding? No. And of course, Jesus retaliates. But not in the way that you would think. Not in the way that we would retaliate. We puff out our chest. We get stronger. We bring in our friends. Jesus stands there firm and says, whoa, slow down. I'm just simply telling you the truth. I'm just guiding you down the right path. You're the one who's choosing to ignore me. Your ways lead to destruction. Look at your history. Look at your past. You were enslaved to Egypt. You were enslaved to the Babylonians. But my way leads to salvation. I'm speaking plain language to you. Why are you not listening? You see, for us, we want to seek vengeance. We want to retaliate in kind. But Jesus does the exact opposite. No matter what situation he finds himself in, he always does the exact opposite of what we expect. In the face of being stoned, in the face of being hurt, he doesn't puff up his chest and say, hey, I'm bigger and stronger than you. My dad can beat up your dad. He's just like, yo, chill. Listen, I'm just wanting to be in right relationship with you. I just want to see you in paradise. I want to spend eternity with you. If you go back to the original Greek, if you even go further than that, go back to the original Hebraic, the pronouns, the participles, all the grammar that is associated to the Jews is all very aggressive, masculine terminology. Whereas all of Jesus's is very neutral. Right? And it's specific because he wants us to understand that the life that you're choosing is a life of destruction. When you're confronted with the problem, don't step to the person, puff out your chest and act stronger. Yeah, don't do that. But instead, flip it on its head. And say, hey, listen, it's a misunderstanding. I know you and my girl are friends, and you've been friends a long time before we ever started. Just please have some boundaries with her, okay? And I'm sorry that we're getting aggressive. All right? Now, here's the reality of it. That's hard, especially for my guys. That's incredibly hard for my guys because that testosterone starts pumping, and the next thing you know, they're not even thinking. But that's what Christ is trying to demonstrate, even in a difficult time, exactly. Even in a difficult time, he's trying to teach these people, guys, chill out. Stop trying to fight the Romans. That's all you're doing. Every time the Romans do something you don't like, you puff out your chest, you get all your buddies with you, and you try to hurt them. What happens? Seriously, what happens? The Romans come in with their shields, their swords, their military, and they crush us. Yeah, that's a great way to live. That's a smart way to live. Good job. Great job, Jews. Great job, Israel. Let's do it a different way. All right? Let's go down a different path. That's not doing anything. How many of you guys ever heard the old saying that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results? That's what these people are doing. They're doing the same thing over and over and over again. Right? They're going to the market, buying the lamb, taking it to the temple, sacrificing it, hoping that their sins are forgiven. But Christ's like, no, I am that lamb. I am the one who is going to be sacrificed. I am the one who is going to die for you. Now, when the Jews talk to, and I need to kind of make a statement here for a second, and then you guys listen to this, because it can really kind of muddle things up a little bit. Understand that when John is referring to the Jews, it is not Israel. It is not the Jewish population. He's specifically referring to the Jewish elite. The reason why this is important for you guys to understand is that for hundreds and thousands of years, that terminology that the apostles used was then used for anti-Semitism, was for racism against the Jews in total. Jesus is simply talking about those of the Jewish faith who did not believe in him as the Messiah. The Jewish elite, those who were the Pharisees, the Sadducees, that's the people he was talking about, the ones who took him to Pilate. Okay, so whenever you hear me say that, whenever you read that, please don't think, well, I don't like any of these Jews today because they crucified my Lord. That's what Jesus said. He said the Jews. No, that's not it. Okay, it's just a very small group of people. But when they call Jesus a Samaritan and demon-possessed, you have to understand both of those things are insults. You see, at that time, the Samaritans believed because of Ishmael, Abraham's firstborn son, through, now they help me.
Under Ishmael?
Hagar.
Hagar, there you go. Through the handmaiden Hagar, they believed that was the rightful heir to Israel. And so they were the true descendants of Abraham, that they truly worshiped the real living God. Whereas the Jews, on the other hand, saw that Ishmael was an illegitimate son, and that Abraham did eventually have a son, Isaac. And that's who they followed. And so they had this major clash, and Samaritans were these outcasts. These people you did not associate with. They're the devil, they're evil, they're wrong. Don't be with them. So by calling Jesus a Samaritan, they're insulting him. They're saying that you are lower than a dog. You're lower than a pot of oil. You're nothing. You mean nothing. And then of course when you're referring to someone who's demon-possessed, yet again, that's an insult, because the only way back then to be possessed by a demon was to commit a sin. And if you committed a sin, that must mean you're not a part of God. Which seems a bit ironic that they would say that when they're the very ones who are committing the sin, who are separating themselves from God by the very act of ignoring Christ. But what does Jesus do? I am not possessed by a demon, but I honor my Father and you dishonor me. This is important, because again, in their day, Dom, come here. In their day, if I gave Dom an assignment, a message, to go tell the junior high boys who are outside playing basketball to come inside, it's not Dom who is speaking. He's speaking on behalf of me. So they have to treat him with the same amount of respect as they would treat me. See? Well, that's exactly what Jesus was. He is a direct messenger from God. And so when they are calling him a Samaritan and demon-possessed, they're not insulting him, but they're insulting the one who sent him. But do you notice how Christ doesn't mention anything about the Samaritan aspect of the insult? Now, that's not a Jesus thing. That was a purely John writing, all right? John wrote that specifically because John was very keen on equality, nationalistic equality, all right? And so he wanted to make sure that if we ignored it, it didn't happen, all right? That no one would pay attention to it, and that it didn't matter. So that all people, Samaritans and Jews and Gentiles, were under one roof. Now, when he talks about glorifying himself, what Jesus is talking about is that because of the things that God is doing through his life, God is glorifying him. He is making him popular in our language. All right? That Jesus isn't doing this so that he can be like, hey, I'm the cool kid at school. I'm the one who has the rich car. I'm the one who has the rich house. Hey, come on over here. Let's come hang out with me. I'm the one you want to be like. No, he was strictly doing these things because he was commanded to do them. All right? The human side of who Christ was, I'm sure, would have loved to have just hung out, gone to the market, maybe shared a glass of wine with his buddies. But the divine Jesus, the Messiah, knew that if God said, Dom, I need you to go out there, I need you to go prophesy to the reservation. I need you to go right now. Yeah, Dom gets up. Jesus gets up, and he just goes and does it. All right? Because it's not about him. You can come back, Dom. It's not about Dom. It's not about him. But it's about letting the world know that God is real. That God exists through his actions. You see, all these people thought, you're doing this to be popular. You're doing this because you're wanting to raise your status in our community. I'm just like, no, guys, I'm not. I'm doing this simply because of my Father who sent me. It wasn't my choice. Listen, I was in paradise. I was in heaven. You think I want to come to this dirt hole and serve you people? Seriously? No. But because my Father sent me, I came. Because my Father loves you so very much. No matter what you do, no matter how many sins you commit, no matter how many bad choices you do, he's going to send me regardless to save you from that. And that's when the Jews were like, whoa, that's it. Time to pick up our stones. Dude, you're done. All right? You're done. And Jesus ends with probably something that just shook them to their core. Jesus talks about, in the present tense, about the past, simultaneously. It's really weird. Before Abraham was born, I am. How many tenses are in that sentence? All right? It's a really weird way to talk about himself, but what he's talking about is that, listen, I don't have to be 55 years old. I don't have to be old to have seen Abraham. Because the truth is, because I come from God, I was here way before you were ever even conceived. I was here before time existed. I created time. And here's where it applies to you guys. Some people come to youth group because it's a great social event. You get to have a lot of friends. You get to hang out, to eat candy, eat cookies, play video games. Some people come here because there's some cute boy or cute girl. Some people come here because mom and dad force them to. Some people come here because it's just convenient. They don't want to sit outside school in the heat or in the rain or in the cold waiting for mom and dad to come pick them up. They can come over here, hang out for a little bit, and they get picked up. These people are the people that Jesus is kind of trying to confront. These are the people that Jesus wants to win to his side, because it doesn't matter if you're a Christian, you already believe in him. You're not the one that he wants. What he wants are those who are here for the wrong reasons. And understand, if you are here for those reasons, I'm not trying to dissuade you from continuing coming or saying that you're a bad person for coming. What I'm saying is that you need to hear God's truth right now. Before Abraham existed, I am. Before everything happened, before you chose to commit sin, I existed for you. So whatever it is that you're doing right now, whatever it is you're thinking, which I guarantee you're thinking, hey, what does that mean? Or I don't believe in God, or here's an argument that counters what you're saying, Alan. I guarantee you someone in this room is having thoughts in their mind right now that's trying to convince them that I'm wrong. Just like these Israelites were doing, just like the Jews. All they were thinking was like, okay, stop talking for a second because I have an argument. I'm going to counter this because I know Scripture. I'm going to pull up the Torah. I'm going to tell you, this is what's going on. All right? There was someone in this room doing that right now. And for that person's doing it, I pray for you. I pray that God reaches into your heart and says, stop thinking for a second. Because I am. I am here for you. You can sit here and say, I don't exist. You can convince yourself you can do things on your own. You can convince yourself that you're a man and we're in backwoods East Texas, so we handle our own situation. We fight and we resolve it with our fists. You can sit here and think that you're some prima donna girl and you're a valley girl, you're preppy, and that you have all the things in the world and that everyone should worship you. Not true. God resolves our problems. God deserves our worship. This is what they were doing. They were doing that same exact thing to Christ. Look at the clothes I have. Right? I'm in these nice fancy robes. I live in this nice fancy palace. I am the cool guy. You don't want to mess with me. Trust me, you don't want to, you don't. Just stop. Don't even have the thoughts. Because even thinking about it, I promise you I can crush you in a heartbeat. What are you, some peasant? You don't own anything. You're a bunch of teenagers. Who are you? What have you done in your life? I've gone to seminary. Right? I built a company. I put 8 girls in college. Who are you? You're nothing. You're not important. What have you done with your life? See, that's exactly what the Jews were doing. They were thinking all these thoughts. They weren't hearing truth. They weren't hearing, I am. Guys, when you leave here today and you go home, and you're laying down in your bed and you're texting some cute girl, texting some cute boy, realize that you're walking dangerously close to either committing sin or tempting someone to commit sin. Because the later you get, the less you can make a sound judgment. The tired you get, the less you can make a sound judgment. Go to bed. You can text them in the morning. If you have a conflict at school, guys, don't fight. It doesn't solve anything. Talk. Resolve it. Christ was hanging on the cross. He was being nailed. That cross right there, big old gigantic spikes driven through his hands. In a moment, he could have called down God's angels and wiped out every person on the planet. Like that. He didn't. Lord, forgive them. God, Father, Abba, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. So when you find yourself in conflict, don't think that you are important or that you're special or that you're strong or that you can fight or that you can get yourself out of it, because you can't. Every single one of you have experienced this. Every single one of you have gotten in trouble. Every single one of you have gotten grounded. Every single one of you have had your phone taken away, shut off, your car taken away, your Xbox taken away. Every single one of you. You can't resolve it on your own. You can only resolve it through Christ. You only have salvation through Christ. There are 2 paths. Destruction, salvation. Which one are you going to choose? Which direction are you going to choose? You're going to choose to continue to fight with mom and dad. You're going to continue to choose to get bad grades. You're going to continue to choose to put yourself in compromising positions because you think you're smarter than me. Because you think you are smarter than God? I know this is challenging some of you. I know it's boiling some of your blood and getting your heartbeat pumping. Good. It should. Should wake you up to the truth. Alright? God is the only way. God is salvation. Christ is salvation. You want a better life? Go down it. Go down towards Christ. Will you pray with me? Hey God, I want to thank you so much for tonight. I want to thank you for your message that you provided your children. Lord, I ask that you be with every person tonight, no matter where their heart may be. No matter how much they're ignoring you, no matter how much that they choose to think that they are smarter or stronger or better than you. Just reveal to them truth, Lord. Help them understand that you are the only way to salvation. Help them to hear these two simple words. I am. In your name I pray. Amen.